Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. I apologize for starting late today. I don't even have a good excuse other than I just lost track of time and I didn't realize it was midnight already. And then I looked, it was already 9 minutes past midnight. All right, so everybody's freaking out over the thumbnail. People were wondering if it was Photoshop. Nope, it's not. I don't know if you've ever seen stuff like that, but you may have heard of clubbed fingers. I've heard of it, but in my recollection, it was kind of a subtle thing where there was maybe a little bit more curve to the nail. It wasn't this. This was not club fingers. So, like a lot of things in this timeline, things have become more extreme, and club fingernails are one of them. And sometimes they call them drumstick fingers. Never heard of that until just recently. So some of these examples, I don't remember club fingernails having like these larger than normal fingernails, actually. I just remember it being kind of curved. Okay, so this one kind of shows a normal one versus clubbed. I remember them being maybe a little short, but just not so extreme at all. I've never seen anything like what I'm seeing here with these. Just no. Okay, so you might think this is just some kind of weird congenital thing or something, but it's not. This kind of shows what a club fingernail is. Bulging fingertips, downward curved nails, warm and red fingertips, soft nail beds. That's the official definition. All right, so what causes club nails? Well, this is weird. I just ran into this article on Yahoo. So they're saying that check your nails. This is what your nails are supposed to look like. Basically, if you put them together, it's going to be a little bit subtle on mine, but if you put them together, there should be this little, what do you call it, diamond in here. If there's not, if the nails just mash together and there's no little diamond, then that's clubbed nails. So it's club fingertips. So what they're saying is that a lot of people who have lung cancer get clubbed fingers. Never heard of that. So clubbing describes changes the shape of the fingers and nails. Starts with the nail bed becoming soft and the surrounding tissue shiny. Then the nail looks more curved when viewed from the side. Okay, that's kind of more what I remember. But then this next part, finally the end of the digits may become larger, known as drumstick fingers. Have not seen that. In severe cases, extra areas of bone may form on the fingers, wrists, or ankles, often mistaken for arthritis. This is known as hypertrophic pulmonary osteoarthropy. Okay, so again with the extra bone growing. I don't know what is about these timelines recently, but bone just grows for all kinds of stupid reasons. So apparently if you get lung cancer, there's a good chance that your fingers will grow more bone. And become all. So they're saying it's related to lack of oxygen. This whole thing is so weird for me because in my old timeline, they used to say that you really had way more lung capacity than you needed. So you could have, like, say, a whole lobe of your lung taken out, and the other parts of your lung would just manage just fine. They would adapt and they would become more efficient. And then you would you'd be fine. You wouldn't really miss that lobe. So, I mean, if that were still true, then you would have to be like riddled with lung cancer before you would be low on oxygen. There is lung cancer in my family. It was all people smoking. None of them had club fingers. My whole dad's side had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease due to smoking, and none of them had club fingers. Theirs was so bad that they did in fact have low oxygen, and some of them had to be on oxygen. So they really did have very low oxygen. It wasn't from lung cancer. Usually lung cancer, in my experience with everybody I've known that had it, they'll cough up blood and the cancer will be found long before they're low on oxygen. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, on the other hand, will take out the functionality of all of your lungs, and it will be really bad functionality, and you really will have low oxygen. So this whole story is really weird. But then they go on to say that they're not really sure how or why club fingers develop from lung cancer. Let's see. Among the rare small lung cell cancer, 12% of patients have, which affects 12% of patients, 4% of patients have finger clubbing. For general lung cancer, it's 35% have this finger clubbing, which makes up 87% of cases of the disease in the UK. So people who have this are very likely to have lung cancer. Basically, if you have this, then you have 87% chance of having lung cancer. Okay, so if it has to do with lack of oxygen, then why don't asthmatics get it? Why don't emphysema patients get it? Why don't chronic obstructive pulmonary disease patients get it? Because their oxygen is a lot worse. So the whole storyline is just weird. The thing that you growing bone there is weird. It makes no sense. I don't know if it's going to make sense later. I don't even know. It was just weird. And so again, we've got, so this thumbnail, see if I can find that thing again. I didn't find the exact one. It was kind of convenient because that is real fingers and they have nail polish on them. That's why they're all pink like that. But there's another example of it on some, I think it's on some toes. You can get club toenails too. So yeah, I don't know. Just another example of us getting used to people looking creepy. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Yeah, it looks like they've got, like, they're going to stick on the side of a building with their giant suction cup fingers or something. Never seen it in any med book. Yeah, see, if this is so common with lung cancer, then, I mean, even if it was just 5% of lung cancer patients, I mean, nurses should know about it. If it's 35% of lung cancer patients, I mean, nurses should be on the lookout for club fingers. Even mild cases, they should be sharp on the lookout. I mean, this should be something that was really well known. So, yeah, weird. And, the thing is, I've never seen anybody with such fingers. It's not like you would not notice. People have to stick their hands out to do things and, also heart and autoimmune causation. Yeah, there were some other things that cause it. It's the other 13% of them. Can we move to a timeline where human knees aren't trash? That would be nice. I don't know. I think you might be like extra screwed because my knees have gotten a lot better the last few years. And you could probably try to blame it on or give credit to pickleball, but it wasn't like I never exercised before pickleball. And I exercised with pickleball for like 2 years before they got better. So, if you look at the morphology now, it's actually way more logical than the way it was before, because for me, all these tendons, they wrapped around really weird, and it was actually kind of hard to even keep it in your mind. Now you've got these two just straight shots down, and you've got this nice cushion area here. So it looks way more efficient to me now. But there's definitely something weird because I've known this with myself, my knees did get way better. And they're not perfect, but they're way better. They used to be kind of creaky and achy, and now they rarely do that. But there are other problems I have that the whole morphology of the area is different now, and yet I still have the same problem. So there must be some kind of energy or something we carry with us, through the timelines, because A lot of people seem to keep having, like, a lot of people had back problems before, still have back problems. The back is so different now. I mean, so there must be something, like, I really have started to believe there's something to this whole chi and how you carry emotional trauma in certain parts of the body and stuff. I think there might be something to that, because otherwise problems should just go away, with the Emmy, or you should get different problems. How can your morphology of some area of your body totally change it? You still have the exact same pain there. It doesn't make any logical sense going by the conventional assumptions. So I think at least we have to look at the unconventional assumptions on some of these. See what you guys are up to here. More and more people are starting to look like a classical image of a gray alien. Yeah, I don't remember gray aliens having giant finger nubs, though. They had small, little, skinny fingers. They didn't look like... I agree with you that people are looking weird, and there's a lot of weird variation. But that particular one, not grays. At least not in my timeline. I don't know. What is the... gray alien. What is the... Let's just go by the meme. What is the look here? I've noticed it's changed a little from my old timelines. They didn't used to look so sinister. They're a little bit more extreme than I remember. The eyes are a little more ovally creepy. They're more insectoid in this timeline than I remember. But let's look at them fingers. Yeah, see, I'm not seeing any... with giant drumstick fingers. Yeah, drumstick fingers do not seem to be part of their shtick. Never can be too sure anymore. Things keep changing. Why can't we have a timeline with a very high burning metabolism? Like you could eat a lot, not get fat. That would be nice. I don't know. We may get there to see. There's a lot of weird things going on right now. I think that the shifting is a lot of strain mentally on a lot of people. Maybe eating is one way to tone down the energies. That's what they say. Eating helps... kind of calm down things that way. Another thing is, in my opinion, and many Mandela people, is that the days are a lot shorter now. But we've all probably have a habit of, like, I know I used to eat 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then I cut it to 2, and now it's like 1.5. If you try to eat what you used to eat, I mean, I don't eat nearly as much as I used to. And I think that's necessary because the days are so short. I mean, I don't know if that's why, but so people are trying to eat what they used to eat, but the days are short. Then you're going to get fat. I mean, it makes a kind of a logical sense. I don't know. So maybe that's part of it. We're just not used to eating for the shorter days. I don't know. But yeah, maybe, if we can, at some point, the shifting's not done. We're still going. We're not finished yet. So, yeah, maybe we'll get there, hopefully. All the extra bones are going to end up making new skeletal anatomy at some point. Yes, I definitely agree with you. There's already, if you look at the sesamoid bones, the little pea-shaped extra bones all in the hands, the feet, they're already normal now to have those bones. So I do think that we're going to see it keeps changing. I mean, a lot of people don't remember there being 2 bones here and 2 bones in the calf area. A lot of people don't remember both of those, so it's split at some point. So I don't know. Keep an eye on things because they're changing. Every time I go to like drill the little coyote bones and stuff for work, I mean the ends of them are different each time. How to drill the hole changes month by month. Coyote skulls. When I go to once the flesh and everything's off of them, the lower jaw does not naturally attach in. I mean, it's loose, so the lower jaw would just fall. So what I do is I glue the lower jaw to the upper jaw. And when I go to put the glue on, I mean, the places that I can glue it now are different. I mean, they used to be that all of the teeth kind of lined up. Let's see if I can find it. Coyote jawbone. See if I can find, all right, this is a no, that's deer. That one doesn't hardly have any in it. All right, this one kind of shows it. All right, now it used to be that these ones here were all flat molars. Like, let's see, what do I got here? I still have internet. So what is the problem? Connected. I think I still have internet. Let me just see. Yeah, I still have internet, so I don't get what the problem is. Reddit? Well, of course, Reddit. Yeah, even Reddit comes up. All right, so I'm not sure what the problem is. OBS died? OBS. Did OBS collapse? OBS. No, it looks like OBS is all right. Let's see. Am I back yet? Ah, I'm back. Okay, I have no idea why it buffered. Couldn't diagnose anything. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so yeah, you heard that. So the three back ones were flat. They're not anymore. And I've noticed this for the last couple years. First, what happened was you can see it on these outside ones. Like part of it stayed flat, but the other part started rearing up, and it was the outside. And they slowly turned into fangs, and then the flat area slowly kind of disappeared and got more and more pointy. So there's almost no area to glue now. There's a little bit of space on the corner of this tooth, the second one from the back, and then these ones, the back two are on both sides. So there's on each side there's one flat one and one a little bit flat, and that's all there is to glue over here. A lot of my glue space is gone. It's gotten pointy, and all of the jaws are like that because I sell, especially during Christmas, I can sell one of these per day during Christmas almost. The back here, this area, there used to be kind of a big shelf of bone that would slot into. The shelf has gotten really small, so it's just maybe a third the size it used to be. So I used to slather glue all in there, and now there's just a little spot to slather the glue. So it's just, it doesn't glue as well because I've lost at least half of my glue region. So I put a rubber band around the nose part to kind of hold it together. Don't know how I'm going to glue them if this keeps up. So anyway, that's just one example of stuff I have to deal with kind of at work all the time. It's just, there's just like stuff that used to work doesn't work anymore. I'm like, and there's going to be a point where it never worked. I don't know. So always, none of it is like horrible, but it is a constant kind of a battle. You can see here, these are all pointy now. Oh, this tiny one in the back, I hardly ever even see that one. There is a super tiny bone that's like that big back there. Most of the time it falls out. Let's see if we can see it on this one. Okay, yeah, it's kind of similar. This is the top of the jaw now. And you can see it's similar there. There's just like 1.5 that are flat, and that's it. Let's see if this one shows it. Well, anyway, you get the idea. But just stuff like that. I don't know. How did I get off on that tangent? I can't even remember now, actually. All right, so let's see. Did I cover everything I wanted to say on that one? Extra bone may form on fingers, wrists, or ankles. So you not only do you have an excuse to grow it on your fingers, but wrists or ankles. Did that. All right, so that one is done. I'm going to try to go through all the milder stuff first. One thing that's been happening is I've been getting tagged as the streams have been getting tagged more often as not safe for all audiences. And what would happen, it used to be that when that happened, I would dispute it. I'd say, okay, I want a manual review. And always for, I don't know, we're coming on over a year and a half now, close to 2 years. Every single time I disputed that and had a manual review, they always approved it as, yes, we agree with you. It is, your stream is in fact safe for all audiences. But the last 3 times that happened, which is the last 3 live streams, they denied my dispute. They said, no, you are not acceptable for all audiences, which means I lose a lot of placement in the search engines, if I understand it correctly. So there's been some kind of a shift. Now, the first one that happened with, I was like, well, this is kind of a shaky stream because it was talking about the Emmy with the red handkerchiefs in the back pocket one, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's why. But then the 2 after that have also gotten permanently labeled not safe for all audiences. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Then we've got this weird COPA thing, where COPA is really weird. You probably heard some of it. Basically, YouTube has suddenly come out saying that you have to properly label any videos for children as being for children, and then if you label them incorrectly, there's this massive fine that you could get, like, I was some kind of ridiculous amount of 5-digit numbers or something that basically you'd like be pretty, unless you were really wealthy, you wouldn't be able to pay it. It's just weird because it's a government agency that's doing this, and the law that they're using is this old law from the I think it's from was it Obama or Clinton era, that really had nothing to do with labeling of videos. Somehow they've retroactively determined that this gives them the right to do this, and then they sued YouTube to force YouTube to comply, and then YouTube is making us label our videos. Now, on the face of it, this doesn't really affect me because I don't do videos for children, so I'll just say, no, none of my videos are for children because I don't do them for children. But a lot of people are freaking out about this, and they're this new rule that they can just fine you cajillions of numbers, because historically YouTube videos by like Joe Schmo like me were exempt from those rules. So suddenly now they're saying we're not exempt. It's kind of come out of the blue. I've never heard of it, and then suddenly it was going to be law in 5 seconds. In fact, I think it's going to be enforced very soon. Another thing that's happened is that YouTube has changed their policies that we agree to, that says that they can get rid of my channel if I am deemed to be not financially lucrative enough. So YouTube is saying that they really haven't changed anything in their actual functional policies. They're just clarifying stuff. But it kind of is worrying a lot of people because, okay, what if they say that none of my stuff is safe for all audiences, therefore it can't be, they can't advertise, so they can get rid of my channel. Is that going to happen? Is that going to start happening? Maybe just bit by bit, a little bit here and a little bit there, so that in 5 years they chop a lot of people. I mean, what about people who, they're saying that it's just, they were always getting rid of people that were like say your content was really disgusting or something, that they could never monetize it. They're kind of making it sound like that's the only people will ever be affected, but the wording is so vague that I don't think we can rely on that being always the case. Of course, it's going to start out like that, but I don't know. You know, how they say how to boil the frog. So there's a lot of weird things going on with YouTube right now. This COPA thing with the videos for children, and then the new rule that they can chop you if they decide that you're not financially beneficial to YouTube. I don't know. There's just, and then at the exact same time, suddenly they're docking a lot of my, like all 3 of my recent videos. So I don't know what's going on with that, but so they must have somehow, they're saying that everything's really the same, but the way that they're enforcing their rules has suddenly shifted quite a bit from my perspective. That the last 2 videos I did were just, you know, just because you show some like animal doing something, I mean, nature related commentary that, you know, and I definitely do my best to not make stuff sound salacious. So, you know, it used to be that stuff that was like nature videos were exempt. So they're not giving me that exemption status anymore, suddenly, and rather obviously the last 2 videos I did should be completely exempt, and they always have been, and they weren't. So anyway, okay, that's enough rambling about the paranoia time. FTC says to protect ourselves as creators from YouTube, Google blaming us for them stalking and selling kid data. We mark ours about as 18 plus. Yeah, I'm just marking mine as not for kids. I agree. See, that's the thing. I do agree that the for kids stuff is full of weird things. So the thing is, though, that those weird things, they could just specifically make rules against them, and there already are rules against a lot of them that aren't really being enforced. So why didn't they just enforce, you know, like for instance, there's a lot of examples of creepy videos that are obviously kind of child pornography. And then people would report them to YouTube. Like I saw this super creepy video and they report it. And then 3 weeks later, the video is still there. Okay, so how come YouTube's not taking action on that? Okay, but yet 5 seconds after I show an elephant without pants on, my video is down. Okay, my video has already been reported somehow. So how is this happening like this? You know, that's the thing. I mean, YouTube, why don't you just enforce the rules you already have in place? So they're saying that, oh, it's to protect the kids. Well, you could have always done that. I don't get it. They weren't making a big effort to do that. So they just got caught, so they're covering their tricks. Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy on that. I don't know. The fine they got was pretty small for YouTube. They could just, you know, enforce the rules they already have. I don't know. It's just all 3 of these things came down to the shoot at once, and I don't have any kids in my videos, so why are they targeting me if they're just worried about kid videos? I don't have any in there, so I don't know. There's something going on. It's suspicious, and all of a sudden. Skook Strange World, I'm losing weight too. I had to cut to eat almost nothing to do it. Yeah, it seems like that, but I think our days are only half length now. So, and you know, intestines and stuff, maybe they're more efficient now. I don't know. Can't eat some foods anymore. Yeah, my system has gotten weird about, like, it doesn't like wheat, doesn't like processed foods, doesn't like dairy. I used to eat all those things without really a problem. Some people think we don't have to eat anymore. There's been a lot of rumor that we're moving towards not really needing to eat anymore. Like eventually, that story is getting very common. No, I don't know if that's a precursor, but need inputs late to the fingers and need inputs late to the party. So he's wondering what those fingers are. Those are called clubbed fingers. So the term for clubbed fingers, CLUBBED fingers. Look them up. There were clubbed fingers in my old timeline, but they didn't look like that. I have to force myself to eat a second meal. I mostly snack and eat dinner. Yeah, it's kind of tricky because I feel kind of hungry in the middle of the day, but if I eat much, then I can't eat dinner, and dinner is what everybody else wants to eat. So I don't know. If it was just me all by myself, I would just eat, I think, a big lunch and a light snack or nothing. It just seems like 5 hours later, after I eat, it feels like I just ate, and that did not used to be the case. I mean, 5 hours seems like nothing now between meals. I went 5 days without eating because I couldn't stop sleeping. Yeah, sleeping's been weird. I do feel better staying on the antihistamines, but some days I'll sleep like 11 hours, then I'll sleep 7 hours, and then I can't seem like I don't have any more schedule. And sometimes I'm really sleepy at night, and sometimes I'm super not sleepy. And then I have tricks to get to sleep, and I have to use them in order to get to sleep. So I'll be sitting there like wide awake. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to screw up my schedule anymore, so I have to just try to sleep. I don't know. It didn't used to be like that. It's weird. Eat inputs driving home. I guess it's not 1 o'clock in the morning at your place. What, buffering again? All right, let me see. No, I'm all right. That's just old. No, I don't know what's causing that. My internet's fine. I don't know what caused that. I checked internet right away and it was blazing fast, so. I wanted to mention that there's like this cycle, and I'm starting to figure it out with the internet. And I've complained about this before. I think it was a couple weeks ago. First, I couldn't get on Reddit all day from my home computer, but I could from my work computer. So I had to drive to work and then I would come home and I still couldn't get on Reddit for like 15 hours. I couldn't get on Reddit from this computer, but I could get on it from the work computer. I tried rebooting this computer, nothing. I could get on everything else, and it was quick, but not Reddit. And then right after I couldn't get on Reddit, I couldn't get on my email from my work computer, but I could get it on from here. Okay, so I just thought it was some lark. But then it happened again yesterday. Yesterday, I could not get on Reddit from here all day. I went to work, I could. Today, so that's the next day now, I can't get on my email all day at work, but I can from home. So then I get on my phone and I can get on my email. So I don't know what the heck. I mean, things are getting, I don't know. My email obviously works if I can get on it from home and I can get on it from my phone. So why can't I get on it from my work computer when my work computer can get on everything else really quickly? There's just something weird. And that's the same cycle as like a couple weeks ago. First, no Reddit on the home one, and then no Yahoo Mail on the work one. Just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the internet. David Cook, considering creating a channel. Yeah, it never hurts. Buffering, no buffering. Rain on the plains found good, what, residual for chartreuse? Yeah. I'm getting used to it being green now. That's the sad part. It's starting to percolate into my brain. Yeah, that's the one thing. You do a channel, now your face is up there. They say that when you do job hunting, they will check that. So now with facial recognition, it's going to get harder to hide. You can hide your name, but they might still find you. I can only hope that in future timelines, paranormal will be more accepted, so maybe it won't be that big a deal. Just make it 18 and older for all of that. I'm in the process of changing all mine to that. Well, I'm not really worried about the children one because I'm just saying that, yeah, okay, maybe they won't. I'm going to have to check into that because not safe for all audiences. Would it still be considered safe for 18 and up? Because when they label it as not safe for all audiences, there's no advertising. So if you're doing it at 18 or up, can you still get advertising on there? Can you still monetize? Because the point of the other thing that was worrying me is that if they're saying they can nuke your channel for not being financially lucrative to them, then if you mark everything as 18 and up and they don't consider 18 and up any good for advertising, then you're still at risk. You'd be at the same risk as them labeling each one of yours that. So, because the problem is if they're deciding that they can't advertise on your channel, then that leaves you open to potentially having your channel chopped. You have to mark for 18 and up because Google tracks the kids and will pass the COPA fine on to creators for luring kids here. Okay, well, what YouTube is saying is you just mark yours as not for kids. I am marking all of mine as not for kids. So, I don't know if that counts as 18 up, but it's not for kids. They didn't actually put a age range on there, though, that you just choose it's yes, this is for kids, or no, it's not for kids. And I mean, it's not for kids. It's no cartoon shows or anything, so it's not for kids. I mean, most kids lie and say they're 18 anyway so they can watch all the shows. The trouble is, I don't know, how is that going to work on the search engines and stuff, so. The COPA garbage is a veiled child protection. See, that there was already rules against making creepy videos with any children in it. So, so these channels that are having like creepy looking stuff on kids, they're not going to say they're for kids. They're going to say they're 18 plus. They're going to say it's not for kids because who's watching it? It's adults watching that creepy crap. So that doesn't really get rid of child porn. Child porn is not made for kids. It's made with kids, but it's not made for kids. They already had rules about children in videos, and COPA doesn't address that as far as I can tell. At least this current round of that stuff, I mean, they've long had all these rules about what kids could be doing in your videos. I mean, they're not preventing me from having children in my videos. I'll just say it's for adults. I don't have children generally in my videos, but that's why the whole thing, I don't get it. Moon illusion. Yeah, it was Clinton era, but if you read the original law, it really did not target YouTube videos or even this general discussion. I mean, it's really, really just talking about completely mangling statements in order to wedge in a weird interpretation. It's old laws. Suddenly they just, like, it was like the closest thing they could find to force what they want now. Strange. They won't get rid of small channels. I don't know about that. See, any channel that doesn't make them money is actually just a drain on their resources. I've kind of seen this because for a long time they had resources for new people to make it easy to make videos. And then was it about 2 years ago they ended that. They made it harder to make videos. They removed a lot of their existing software so that you had to go outside and get separate software to stream, and cut and edit videos became harder because they were no longer providing the software for you. And I assume that was just because they have too many videos. Now they just want high quality videos. They want videos that they can advertise on. So instead of having a bunch of 15-year-olds churning out crappy videos in their opinion, they wanted to make the bar higher so that the production quality would be better. And from a financial perspective, that makes sense. And from a financial perspective, any small channels that don't make videos that can be advertised on are just a drain on their system. And we've already seen now that they don't let you advertise now unless you have a lot of listeners. So already they're setting the bar higher. First, they've made it harder to advertise. And then now they're saying that if you don't make any money, then they can chop you. So it's going in a certain direction. I don't know, I don't know the future, but you can definitely see a way to interpret that is not very pleasant. But I mean, I don't know, maybe it'll go one way in this timeline and it'll go that way in that timeline. And so, I don't know the future. I don't know the future. YouTube CEO has family members connected to CERN. Huh. Yeah, don't know. I hope they have a grace period for people to understand. No, they don't. Basically, it's going to affect very shortly, and nobody understands anything. And if you do it wrong, they can, I think it's like $60,000 they can fine you for one incident. December 10 goes into effect, yeah. So what? That's 5 days from now. I actually just heard about it last week. They have a children's access to YouTube that parents fall if they don't monitor the kids. The thing is, I mean, there's way worse stuff all over the internet than on YouTube. So it's not really going to change what kids have access to. And kids are all going to say they're 18 anyway. In fact, there was a big bunch of people who lost their channels because they were basically, kids that a number of years back were like 10 or 12. And of course, they all claim they were 18 because they want to see all the good videos and they don't want to miss out on anything. So every kid in the planet claimed to be 18 so they could watch all the stuff. But of course, they were still actually 11 immature brats, and they would go on other people's videos and post obnoxious, immature stuff. And a lot of times it was their friend's video or whatever, but they would say all kinds of stuff that an 11-year-old brat would say, but they were claiming they were 18. And so what happened is when the algorithms and the AIs that they started implementing about 2 years ago to track comments, and look for creepy stuff, started pinging all these 11-year-olds claiming to be 18-year-olds, and they started all losing their channels. They started all getting banned for creepy crap they said when they were 11 because they said they were 18. So that something that an 11-year-old says to another 11-year-old, if you knew they were both 11, you would take it one way. But if you thought one of them was 18 and one of them was 11, then all of a sudden it's really creepy. And so all these people who had their channel for like 15 years suddenly were banned and their channels were closed for something they said like 10 years ago because the algorithms were finding all this stuff. There was just a huge stream of these people, and they were traumatized because they had content on there from 15 years earlier or 10 years earlier, and it was their childhood, and then suddenly psh, all gone because some dumb thing they said 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So kids are still doing that. They're just going to say they're 18. Yeah, a lot of people talk about just like, oh, let's go to another venue, dump YouTube. If another venue got as popular, even half as popular as YouTube, dollars for donuts, I bet you. The exact same crap will start happening over there. The minute something gets popular, it's the same old thing. It just, everywhere I've seen that. Everything that gets popular, this is what happens. Because they want to advertise. But, maybe it's not just that, but... All right, so where was I here? Okay, we got more colored lightning stuff. All right, this is one. This is kind of, I want to go over something I went before though. So first, as a piece of background, I've covered part of this before. This volcano lightning. I think I had this image up before. So this is a volcano, and this is the ash plume. It's gotten more extreme since last time I looked at it. And this is all lightning coming out. Now, my old timeline did not have lightning coming out of volcanoes. Now, when I first saw this, the lightning, they would say that the ash cloud would float up here and interact with the atmosphere and create like a thunderstorm type thing. So the lightning would be like as if it was a thunderstorm. So the lightning, originally, when I first saw this, they said it would come from the clouds itself. But I kept an eye on it. Well, look, there's that super fat lightning. I forgot the name of it. We didn't used to have the super fat lightning. But now, this might be a good example. Now they're saying the lightning comes actually out of the volcano itself and that it's purple. Now you're starting to see more of the images with the purple lightning, and this one's coming more out of the volcano. So now they're saying that the lightning is not just the clouds up there, it actually shoots out of the volcano. There's a lot more images of it now too. Look at that. Okay, here's a pretty good example. It's shooting right out of the volcano here. There's not a lot of cloud that nearby, so you have a clear view, and it's shooting out like a plume out of the volcano. All right, and so this kind of covers it. Scientists recreated volcanic lightning by blasting ash out of a cannon. All right, so there it is. And it's purple. So basically they're saying now the lightning itself shoots out of the volcano. It is not from this funky cloud thing. So that it's just a slight change, and I wanted to mention it. And also we've covered the colored lightning before. So the volcano lightning is now purple. And there's another weird lightning one. Let me find that one. All right, here's the next lightning one. All right, so this one, I got this one from a post from a user on Redcon. The user's name was Tourist from Torred. And this user had mentioned that they were talking about the thunder snow. Now, I've covered thunder snow maybe like a year and a half ago. Basically, this weird thing now where there's like this thunder during a snowstorm. Advertising, of course. So that seemed like an old ME, but then this guy said that he saw lightning during snow. So first it was thunder snow, now it's snow lightning. The other thing he said was he saw this just like this year, I think it was, recently anyway, that it was green. So this is two new things. First of all, they originally said the lightning would be hidden up in the clouds and you wouldn't see it, and now he sees it and that it's green. Now, I've talked a lot about weird colored sky phenomena being blamed on this and that and this and that. And one of the things was green skies, but now it's green lightning. Okay, so he saw this and then he posted, this is so weird. I saw green lightning during a snowstorm, and he'd never even seen lightning in a snowstorm, not to mention green lightning in a snowstorm. And so a bunch of people said they've seen it just recently, also green lightning in a thunderstorm. And of course, you've got the non-regular users of the channel going, oh yeah, I saw that 20 years ago, big deal. But so I looked it up. Scientists solve mystery of green lightning, says it's surprisingly common. Well, it is getting common now, but I think in this current timeline, you're going to start to see green lightning in a thunderstorm. So, again with the volcano, except for now, I guess it's green. Chile's Chitin volcano erupted, spewing out clouds of dirty ash. An unusual kind of lightning. So, in which it was green lightning emerged from the ash cloud and striking image above. Okay, so the purple lightning comes from the inside the volcano by shooting ash out of a cannon. But if it's up in the sky, it's going to be green. So are we going to get like green and purple lightning shows over volcanoes? I would not be surprised. Looks like they're gearing up for it. The origin of bright green lightning bolts remained a mystery until atmospheric scientist Arthur Few of Rice University in Houston became curious about the phenomena. I thought, that's funny. Why don't we see these in lightning storms? Although green lightning seems unusual, Few now suspects it's occurring during all thunderstorms, but is concealed inside the clouds. In contrast, volcanic ash clouds carry their electrical charges on the outside, where they are sparked by fragments of rock forcibly ejected into the air. But why green? The green hue is given off by electrically excited oxygen atoms, says Few. He thinks the same process paints the sky green during vivid light shows of the aurora. All right, this phenomenon may have colored the tail of Comet Lovejoy as it passed overhead in November. I don't remember there being a green comet tail on Comet Lovejoy, but apparently there was. I did actually look this up the other day. Interesting name for a comet. Lovejoy. All right, so you can see that there is green in it now. I don't remember that being the case before. It seems like most of the comets are colored now. Anyway, so he does mention that it is somewhere in here. He does say that it's more common than expected, which I don't know. It's like, that's the thing. Oh, you thought it was rare, but actually it's common. I see that so many times lately. Like, rare is the new common in this timeline. All right, so that's it for the colored lightning for today. Okay, this one. I've been seeing these temples for the last month or so, but just close-ups. Abu Simbel temples of Egypt. But I saw an image of them from further back, and it kind of I see now why we don't see them. All right, so here's the image I've been seeing. You see this kind of close-up. It was even closer up image than that I was seeing. Basically, you just see these figures. But now, if you dial it back and look from further behind, this is what. Does this not look like Petra? Petra used to be the only one that had that, and I've been covering how Petra has so many more now. So this looks like Petra. It's actually carved into the rock. Now, my old timeline really only had the Sphinx carved into rock. They didn't have these Petra-looking things in Egypt. Okay, so there's two of these. There's two major ones right now in this area. There's this one. And let me find the other one. And that one I showed before, which was this one, which has some damage to one of them. Now, actually, I didn't see this last I looked. I guess this is in the interior of one of them. But I'm quite sure that these exteriors that look like Petra were not, they weren't here last year. So it's two massive rock temples. Here's the one I've been seeing the close-ups of. Now they're showing you the dialed back version, so you can see that it's carved right into the rock. They didn't make that clear. That first you would just see the close-up images, and then once you got used to that, then you saw this dialed back version where you can see it's carved into the rock. Here's another image of it that's pretty good. So one of them is damaged. There seems to be a little guy in the middle here. Actually, what's up with that guy? He's got a giant dome head or something. Huh. Actually, that one, I just noticed that. It's kind of weird. Let me just look at that and see if I can. Not sure what that thing is. Looks like a snake head maybe with a big circle on its head. All right, so there's that one. See if I can see it. And then there's this one. This one is like hot off the presses, basically. I mean, there's already, I looked into this almost a week ago, and there's already a bunch more stuff than when I saw it last time. Okay, so again, there's a dialed back version. So you can see it's carved into the rock. Keep an eye on these. I bet these are going to multiply, let's just say. Very nice dialed back version. Right by the water, too. All right, so what did I find last time I checked? Darn, I thought I wrote down more on this one. I think the wiki is what I want. Yes, this is what I want. Two massive rock temples at Abu Simbel. Part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site known as Nubian Monuments. I don't remember any Nubian monuments before. I looked up Nubian monuments. Did not find a lot. Right now, I can't really see why they're called Nubian monuments when they could just be called Abu Simbel temples. This was the third one I saw that is showing up as part of Nubian monuments. But not a lot besides that. Let me see what else I'm seeing today. Then it's just these two that we've already looked at. There was one other structure. Okay, so that's just a drawing. This, I think this is the... this structure's coming up. History of Nubian monuments and Nubian people in Egypt. And there's this one. Saving the Nubian monuments. I bet we're going to get a lot more Nubian monuments. That was all I could find. I did not see this one when I looked last time. Aswan Nubian monuments. I think we're going to find a lot more. Look, this one wasn't here when I looked last week. So I figured there's only like 2 main and 2 smaller Nubian monuments. That seemed unlikely that was going to stay like that. So already there's more. I think this is the next place we're going to see a ton of new stuff. So anyway, stay tuned. That one was not there last time I looked. Excuse me. So I think Nubian monuments is going to be like the new Petra, the way it's dialing out here. Very neat. Okay. Does anybody remember when the Taj Mahal domes were gold? Yeah. Gold and way bigger. Taj Mahal. This is an older ME. Been covered quite a bit, I think. Taj Mahal's gotten real tiny. I remember it being gold. It's really puny now. It's just, I remember it being like 3 times larger. Gold roof. And it had some blue stuff in it. Like blue little ornate work stuff. This is what I recall in the walls. And a gold, the gold top. A lot more ornate. Now it's just white. Yeah, it's not my old Taj Mahal. Definitely not. It's just so tiny now. It's so I can't stop saying how tiny. That gives you a better idea. No, that's just wrong. That's so wrong. And it's just white. It's pretty, but it is not compared to a lot of the newer stuff that's showing up, the new old stuff. It's not that big a deal anymore. Again, with the, out with the old, in with the new. I mean, literally. Freaking literally. All right, see where we at. The colored sky, the translucent moon. Yeah, people are calling it the translucent moon. There's something weird, like the clouds kind of disappear and like the moonlight shines right through and makes the clouds transparent. So it looks like the clouds sometimes are traveling behind the moon. Now, everything is different in how clouds operate here and how they glow and how you can see them at night. So I don't know if they're, really traveling behind the moon as it looks like, or if they're just becoming translucent really easily. People are definitely noticing that something's fishy. They don't always think that it's, they don't always believe in the Mandela effect, but what is the most Mandela effect that sticks out for me? It's definitely Arctica. I know a lot of people don't remember Arctica, but Arctica used to be a landmass at the North Pole that was considered a continent back in my old timeline. Unlike a lot of things where the details change, the names change, the spelling change, that one just disappeared. It's gone. Arctica was never a continent here. Not in the 70s and 80s and 90s and aughts like it was for me. So it's just gone. So that's my biggest one because it's gone. There's a whole continent. It'd be like if Antarctica disappeared and they said, oh, there was never a landmass there and it's just the Antarctic region and it's just ice flows. I mean, if somebody said that to you, you'd be like, what in the F? And that's what happened to me because Arctica was like Antarctica. There has been a channel that tortures animals too, and they get banned and come back each time. It's nuts. Yeah, and then they're there for months until finally maybe they get banned again. Yet other people get banned because they showed a moon video of a weird ripple across the moon, and it doesn't hurt anybody, and they're not even claiming anything about it. I mean, it's just, I don't get it. Had a bad night, been up 2 days. Lately I've got this thing where my cold perception and warm perception are just getting more and more whack. So and I can feel like this weird stirring. It really just feels like a kind of a slightly tingly feeling, and then I feel really, really cold. And I just pile on the blankets, and they don't really help that much. And then finally I fall asleep, but it's kind of hard to fall asleep when you're feeling really cold. Then about halfway through the night, I feel really, really warm. I throw off all the blankets. And I know it did not get really warm at 4 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's like my perception of temperature has less and less to do with the actual temperature anymore, as the thermometer on the wall claims it is anyway. And like I said, I take my internal temperature with the thermometer, and according to that, I have normal temperature all the time. So it's just my perception. Even more ground to sky lightning. Yep. There's a big long story I have about lightning. Let me just say it's shifted more than once for me. There was a timeline I was in. That would be the 80s, when they said that most lightning was ground to sky, and I was surprised about it. But I read the scientific article. Oh, most of it's ground to sky. Then it was all sky to ground. Now the big ones are ground to sky. I don't. I can't keep track anymore. I actually feel kind of weirdly dizzy right now. It's not bad, not like sick or anything, but I wonder if it's a little shifty right now. Actually, I feel a little strange right now. Usually I stay up this late, I'll feel sleepy, not dizzy, but not dizzy. Like, it feels weird, but I don't feel like I'm going to fall over. I don't feel like I'm going to faint. It's hard to describe, but dizzy is the closest word for it. Surprisingly common. You never heard of it, but it's actually common. There's so many articles like that now. Magma is doing weird geomagnetic stuff. Scientists say it's getting closer to the surface. One to watch by Data Junkie. The whole storyline behind the Earth's mantle has completely shifted for me. I remember that the plates would float on a giant pile of magma, but now that area that the plates sit on, like plate tectonics, the plates, that area is all just solid rock metally stuff. It's not magma anymore. Magma is only way on the inside, and the plates no longer float on top of magma. So then when they magma's doing weird stuff, the whole storyline's different. So then when they come and say, oh, there's a change in this little bitty change that we've noticed, I'm like, that whole storyline is completely different for me. So I'm like, whatever. How can I take seriously they claim this little difference, and then like the whole storyline is just a whole nother story. I'm supposed, and then I can't take that little difference seriously because I'm looking at the giant difference. Is that part of how they're shopping the new reality around by saying this little thing is different, and then you just like the weirdest naysaying post was on Reddit. Was it this morning or yesterday? They were some skeptic was trying to debunk the photography earlier in time, and this person's argument is Well, everybody knows about the photographs of Lincoln and how you could see the mole on his face. Everybody knows that. It was like one of his first sentences. Everybody has seen it. Everybody knows it. And immediately my brain's like, dang, ding, 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 because no, that's a massive ME for me. And I've said many times that there were only paintings of Lincoln in my old timeline. There was no photos. So, I mean, how many people just accept that sentence? Everybody knows. I'm like, no, everybody does not know. That was on retcon. I just nuked that whole stupid thing because it goes against our rules on retcon anyway. But I just thought it was really weird that he took the one example that I know to be false, and then in one of the first sentences he goes, well, everybody knows. I'm like, wrong. It kind of creeps me out when that happens too. Space River, they claim it is an epileptic seizure on a micro scale. All right, Dark Wolf, you have me like really confused with that sentence. Really confused. I don't know. Is Space River a person? Okay, otherwise they claim it is an epileptic seizure on the micro scale. What's an epileptic seizure on a micro scale? It's like, I got this one sentence and I'm like, huh? Okay, Space River is a person. Oh, they can't identify what deja vu is, where thoughts come from. Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense. They claim it as an epileptic seizure on a micro scale. Isn't like a micro scale epileptic seizure, wouldn't that be just like a couple neurons firing? Which is like what our brain does? I don't know. You know, a weird thing though. I'm kind of weird. I had never experienced deja vu until just recently. I had one example of it. So I don't doubt everybody always talks about it. Everybody I know's experienced it. Was it like 2 weeks ago? I was sitting in the car and waiting for a light, and I looked over and I saw this other vehicle, and something about sitting there and looking at that vehicle, and the vehicle looked familiar, and suddenly I felt like I had been there before. And I reckoned, I'm like, this is my first deja vu. And it was so interesting because I've never felt it. I mean, I've certainly sat at lights and thought I recognized cars, like that car looks familiar, but no, it's different because you felt like you had done the whole thing before, like it was so it was interesting. But it's interesting for me because I've never experienced deja vu. So why now? Why have I never experienced it? Why am I now experiencing it? I've experienced so many weird things, but not deja vu. So I don't know. Rare is a new common. That's going to be one of my new catchphrases. Rare is the new common. Something like that. Rare is the new common. And unknown is the new everybody knows. But I like rare is the new common. There's been so many things like that. Weird underdog teams win, like the World Series or some big thing. This timeline loves that stuff. People who should never win will win. That's their new way of making us feel stupid or like we can't trust our own knowledge. One of the things that bugs me about these things, like that guy saying everybody knows, and then he says something that's an ME and everybody does not know. There is a lot of research, there's a lot of techniques where a lot of people will just hear that sentence and kind of accept it. Like, even if they have doubts for a second, they will, okay, everybody know, this is common knowledge, basically. A lot of people, when faced with that sentence, will accept that sentence, that this is common knowledge. If they come out and they trot it out like everyone knows, and they'll look elsewhere in the statement for the argument. They won't argue that part because that part is presented as a given. They'll wait till the other parts. So they just kind of accept it. And that's a strategy that's commonly used. So that's why it really bothered me. It's It's like, that is just classic manipulation strategy. I mean, strategies since I've gotten the internet, I've heard about them for like 10 years at least. Salesman tactics, just classic salesman tactics. That's why you have to be, I've gotten, just so, you just have to be so watchful of every sentence that is uttered. Whenever they claim something, just anybody, just each sentence, I inspect it. Because they're trying to push stuff through like that. I don't know who they is. The powers that be, the Mandela, the reality, bad actors, I don't know, but been happening to me the last 2 weeks, driving me nuts. What has been? Remember, science is so ignorant that it claimed that science was done in the 80s and we pretty much had it all wrapped up. Yeah, I remember my parents, like old folks, used to say, oh, they keep changing it. First it's this, then it's that. I'm not listening. And I poo-pooed that because I'm like, oh, well, the current science is the more accurate science. So just, trust the current science. But now that I'm older, I've seen it flip-flop, and then I've seen the Mandela. And so I'm like, now I really have sympathy. I'm sure the young kids are going, those old folks. Man, I'm like way behind on this stream. All right. 1 hour mark reached. I think I reached it an hour and a half ago. I'm going to refresh this. I'm actually suspicious that you haven't said anything for a while. Sometimes it freezes up and I get like 20 minutes behind before I notice. All right, so end of rant. Green light. All right, I'm going to leave that last bit because it's probably going to get me branded not safe for all audiences. So at least it won't get branded that till the end, although the pictures of those fingers may be enough to trigger the algorithms, frankly. I noticed anything with like red in it and a bunch of flesh color can trigger the algorithms. Actually, let me just check and see if I've been branded not safe yet. Info and settings. Can't remember where it exactly shows it. Suggestion settings. Somewhere it shows where maybe here. Nope. This is the new live control room, which I have no knowledge of how to operate, but it might be on here. Oh, look, monetization is still on. So those fingers did not trigger it. I'm going to leave it on there for a bit, just to see what happens. Okay, so Abu Simbel did not finger trick. Even those words like finger trick could be enough to trigger the algorithm sometimes. In fact, I'll take that off and we'll go straight to all right, one other thing. I wish I got a photo of this, but I didn't have a good place to stop while I was driving. And then by the time I did have a good place to stop, I was too low to really get the picture. One thing I noticed was like 2-3 days ago is The clouds seem to have changed a little bit lately. For a number of years now, what I would see often was a real high clouds, like it make like a white sheet across the sky sometimes, and then another set of clouds lower. And I did notice that where clouds used to be just on one level, they would kind of some of them would just be, top to bottom a lot longer than I remembered them. But what I saw a couple days ago was the high sheet of clouds, and then a big line of clouds here that were white, and then a lower line of clouds that were like dark gray. And that's something that we've been discussing has changed, that there used to be the clouds that all be like the same color, but now you have like these really dark ones and these really light ones, and some would be colored and some wouldn't. So it just seems like there's another, I have not seen that where they have the high sheet and then a line and then another whole very cohesive line below the first line. So now there was like 3 levels all in one spot. That's the first time I've seen that. So I do think that that is kind of, at least for me in this area, is new. And I've been watching the clouds for 3 years now. So I just wanted to mention that. There's something, some shifts going on there. There's something. Okay, the next one is from John Austin. Lyric changes. All right, so I guess I've already typed it, so I can't really fool anybody with asking them what they remember. All right, there's been other mumblings about this "Twas the Night Before Christmas" lyrics. Let's see if I have it here. The one that I came up last year is people don't remember. Had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. Nobody remembers just settled our brains, or almost nobody remembered it as being weird. This one that John Austin brought up is at the end. I very clearly remember "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Now, when I'm looking at it, as John Austin, commenter on the channel, has pointed out, about 90% of them say it's "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." It was "Merry Christmas." There are a few places where I'm still seeing "Merry," but 90% of it is "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Now, it was "Merry Christmas." I mean, that's just like so ingrained. It's not "Happy Christmas." So, I call Mandela on that. I agree on that one. Okay, now, let me go back to Reddit. I should have pulled this one up earlier. Actually... Let me see if I can find this. Here, this is the one. Some interesting research by Sunshine Boom. If you go over to Retcon and check this post, forgot to post these here. Data viz dedicated. A Wrinkle in Time was a user that did some previous research on the Bragg's Mandela Effect. So this person is crediting that person as, dang it, I can't actually remember. I think what it was a bunch of research on the how the different search engines traffics looked for the two, and that most people were hunting for Bragg's, even though it has always been Bragg in this timeline, but so many people remember it with an S. So I believe that was the research. So Sunshine Boom has one-upped it quite a bit on by taking that idea and running with it. So hopefully it loads okay. So the easiest way is to get there from Redcon with that post, but over time that post will shrink down. It'll be pushed down. So you can see that the URL is kind of complicated, but publictableau.com profile, blah, blah, blah. And there's the rest of it. So you can pause the video and get the whole URL this way. There's the first part of it. Hopefully you can see all that. All right, so a couple of interesting things here. Let's see. I think we want it like this. Of course, suddenly now it's not working right for me. Oh, okay, here. All right, so this first one, for some reason I have to go down here today to get it to go over to the side. So this person is looking at search terms put into search engines, and she's I think, I'm not sure if this is she or he. I'm just going to go with the she for now because it's hard to speak English without a pronoun. But so I apologize if you're not a she and you're listening. So she has looked at the search engine traffic and crunched these numbers. So here you can go and look at how many people search for No, I Am Your Father versus Luke, I Am Your Father. 10% search for No, I Am Your Father. 90% search for Luke, I Am Your Father. Now, some of these could have possibly been influenced by talk of the Mandela Effect itself. Okay. But you can go by country. So that's the United States. There's the United Kingdom. There's Turkey. Now, one would assume that in some of these countries, the Mandela Effect isn't very popular. It can't be popular in all of them. Yet, even in those countries, Luke, I Am Your Father scores 82%, and No, I Am Your Father scores 18%. There's in Sweden, 100% Luke, I Am Your Father. South Africa, 100%. So no matter what it's showing here is a couple things. One is that the percentages of who searches for what are very common across countries. So if this is a top Mandela effect over here, it's going to be a top Mandela effect over here, and that almost everybody searches for the Mandela version. Okay, so the blue ones, let's see, the darker colored ones are the ones that are more Mandela skewed, and the lighter colored ones are the ones that are less Mandela skewed, like more people search for the current reality one. Now, what this person has also done is done a control group where they check the search traffic for stuff that sounds like it might be a Mandela, like say Rice Krispies with a K or Rice Krispies with a C. Now, on the face of it, it would be easy to make that mistake, but yet 91% got it current timeline, and then only 9% made the mistake. And that was in United States. Tomorrow, how many people misspelled tomorrow? Now, tomorrow is one that is supposedly commonly misspelled. So that's another real interesting thing, is they picked common misspellings over here. And none of the common misspellings of stuff that's misspelled in, like the top misspelled words in the United States, some of those are very commonly misspelled, yet only a small percentage of people are actually typing it in wrong, even though it's supposedly a common misspelling. So the Mandelas are very much more searched wrong than these other common misspellings are supposed to be. And it holds across countries, so that was one of the point. Mandela search is stable across countries, all right. And more Mandelas are much more robust than regular misspellings. All right, now the second, so what this person is doing is basically crunching numbers and looking for interesting trends. We may not always know what it means, but this one basically debunks that it's just bad memory, because they're so much more robust than, like, say, other stuff that is actually regular misspelling, so much more. Or at least it's evidence against. It's strong evidence against. I guess you can't totally say it debunks, because skeptics will always manage to wiggle out of it. And I have to agree, it's not 100% proof, but it is strong evidence. It's something to throw. Percentage of population that speaks English compared to the control group. They're talking more about comparing commonly misspelled, like for instance, beautiful, one of the most misspelled words in the US, barely approaches the searches of commonly reported MEs. So the top ones, again, there's a control group here. As well, you can see English speakers with much more searches for the wrong versions and also examples where they have less for the wrong version. So these kinds of errors have very little influence on MEs. This one here was just kind of like they were looking for stuff but didn't really find anything. But this details a percentage of population with access to the internet. They're just looking for any kind of anything interesting. Didn't really find anything in there. So this person plans to do more of these, basically just crunching data against itself. You can search by country. If you want to look, if you want to more quickly get to a specific country, you can click here, click for map control. Hopefully it'll come up sometime this millennia. All right, so say you want to know just what Australia has to say about it. And there's not much Australian data. It's so light you can't really see it because there's not a lot. Okay, let me go for Greenland. Greenland. Oh, it's acting all glitchy. It was working fine this morning, of course. Hopefully not. Okay, let's try Brazil. Brazil. I think some of it's way over on the side, and that's part of my problem. There we go. Okay, so I click on Brazil. Boink. Come on, just Brazil. And then you can see, unfortunately, when I get my mouse off, it kind of ruins it sometimes. But you could see that there was a line up here that showed you where Brazil is. So if you don't want to sit here and futz along and find countries or states, all right, there's just Alaska on your left side there. So if I want to, I can jump straight there and see what Alaska has to say. Argentina. Way over here. There. So now I know that this whole line is Argentina all the way up. Fruit Lips 68%. Some of these I have trouble remembering what they are. Looney Tunes with the U, 77%. Nobody remembers No, I Am Your Father. All right. So anyway, interesting research. If anybody's trying to say bad memory, then this is kind of a graphic representation that you might be able to throw at them, saying no. Of course, they'll probably just ignore it and keep arguing it. But if somebody actually wants to learn something, this is interesting. Okay. Got you. Oh, this one is from Thomas Larson. Interestingly, on the front page of Reddit, this was just on like a couple days ago. They showed, and I looked for this image. Now I couldn't find it today, but they showed the start of a water spout. Now, what I remember very clearly is that they would say that water spouts were basically like a little mini tornado that started over water, and it would suck up water up into the spout. But lately, there have been, not videos, images, Eva, images. You're starting to see these weird ones, like, first of all, there's like bunches of them all at once. 2, 3, 4, 5 water spouts all next to each other. Then you see stuff like this, where it's all clear, but yet it's dark up there. So it can't really be sucking up water if it's like this. I just started seeing images like this. A couple days ago, there was an image. Basically, there was water and then this big weird indent in the water that was circular, almost like an invisible circular thing was pushed into the water. And that was supposed to be the start of a water spout. So what they say now is that the water spout actually doesn't suck up any water. It is now, let me see. Actually, I didn't write it down, so I have to look it up. Some are connected to cumulus congestus cloud. I have not heard of a All right, I'm going to have to click on that. Cumulus congestus. That's a whole new one. Also known as towering cumulus. That's a new one. All right. Cumulus congestus. Oh, these are those weird tall ones I was talking about that I started seeing last year. So I guess they have their own name now. Last year they were just cumulus clouds. Now these towering cumulus ones are cumulus congestus. Look at how short this wiki is. I think this name might be hot off the presses because this wiki is tiny. Though they can also be formed from altocumulus castellanus or stratocumulus. I have not heard this altocumulus castellanus. Stratocumulus is a few years old. Now I'm going to have to, okay. Altocumulus castellanus. I guess that's it. Doesn't look like much. A cloud type name for its tower-like projections that billow upwards from the base of the cloud. All right, anyway, let's go back. I'm kind of losing track of what I was going here. While some waterspouts are strong and tornadic in nature, most are much weaker and caused by different atmospheric dynamics. All right, I'm trying to find it. They said something, it's like the coloration, the whiteness inside is like some kind of condensation thing. It's not water sucked up from below at all. Fair weather waterspouts occur in coastal waters and are associated with dark, flat bottom, developing convective cumulus towers. They rapidly develop and dissipate. Okay, so we have fair weather ones now. Yeah, I actually don't remember there being waterspouts when everything during fair weather that used to be associated with kind of stormy weather. Fair weather waterspouts are similar in appearance and mechanics to land spouts and largely behave as such if they move ashore. Oh, here's a new one. A winter waterspout, also known as snow devil, ice spout, and ice devil, or snownadoe, or snow spout, are an extremely rare instance of waterspout forming under the base of snow squall. Okay, snownadoe. I'm going to have to look that one up because I don't think we've covered snownadoes before. Snownadoe. Write that one down. Snownadoe. What is a snownadoe? Not saying much. They're related to waterspouts. All right, that's a snownadoe. Only 6 have ever been captured on camera. I bet you there will be more than 6. 6. So rare, in fact, that only 6 have ever been captured. 4 of those photos coming from Ontario. I wonder how long that'll... I'm going to write. I'm going to predict that there's going to be more than 6 in the near future. And this storyline will probably switch over to be something more like only 6 of such and such type have ever been captured on camera. Or only 6 have ever been captured on such and such type. There's going to be some kind of new caveat about the 6. But for right now, it's only 6 have ever been captured. Very little is known. Closely related to waterspouts. They form over frozen lakes or snow-covered areas. The one below was reported by Heinz Pedelin when he was skiing in the Alps near Austria. All right, I'm going to play just a tiny clip of this thing. Hopefully it plays.
Now here's a rare weather phenomenon.
Shut up. Okay, so pretty cool. Don't want to watch too much of it because I'll get a copyright strike. All right, so what the heck? Okay, so back to the water spouts. Shoot, now it's not really saying what causes it, but anyways, I can't find it now, but basically it doesn't suck up water anymore. I found it last time I looked. Now I can't find it. It's just some kind of water condensation inside the cloud, and that's how you're able to see those images where it looks like there's water in the cloud up higher, but down low there's nothing, because this is not water. And you can see now it just looks different. There's a lot more see-through, a lot of them are now, than when I first saw them. And they also they're just way more skinny and twisty, and they've just gotten more and more weird. It used to be just a short little thing. There'd be a cloud here, and there'd be a short little fat thing, and half the times you could barely see it because the cloud was in the way. And then they got more and more easy to see and longer, and now they twist all over the place like ridiculous roller coasters, and there might be 5 of them, and now they're trying to translucent, and then look at that thing. I mean, come on, dudes, that doesn't even look real. I mean, maybe it even isn't, but there are ones like that, so you can't even tell real from fake anymore because the real stuff looks so fake. An interesting pattern on that one. Oh, rainbow plus 2 water spouts. This must be fair weather one over here. It looks pretty nice. I mean, you never used to see 2. I just typed in water spout. I didn't type in like multiple or any other word like that. But so many of these images now are like multiples. Look neat. Very neat. Didn't used to have any images like that. I actually looked at these like about a year and a half ago, just because they were so twisty. And I didn't see anything like this with its translucent on the bottom. Lightning. Nothing like that. So they continue to morph basically. All right, now I'm going to get to the, we'll see how long my monetization lasts. Let's just say once we start with this last 2. All right, so this one is these both are from commenter ME and U. See if I can say this very carefully to not trigger anything. I have my doubts. All right, so this is birds. Mutualistic birds. Okay, that's not the name of the birds. The birds are called pecker birds. P-E-C-K-E-R, birds. So mutualistic is a new word. I have not heard that word before. There used to be there'd be parasites, and then there was commensal parasites, where both sides help. Was that the word? There was a word for when both sides help each other, but it wasn't mutualistic. I have not heard this word mutualistic. That's kind of a new word for me. Roost in the armpits and bellies of giraffes. So first they're called pecker birds. That's one of them. There's 2 kinds. Red-billed oxpecker. The name, of course, is interesting. All right, so they clean the little creepy crawlies off of the fur of animals. But here's where it gets weird, is that they roost on the animals overnight, and they roost up under like the armpits. So look, this is where they're roosting. So the name then sounds suspicious because of where they're roosting. Of course, this was just found out recently, so has nothing to do with the name of the bird, of course. Just a weird, crazy coincidence that it has that name. Another thing is that these birds, they're saying that they'll pull off the ticks and yucky bugs on these animals, so the animals don't mind them being there. But then they'll continue to lick the blood from the animal on the open wound to get a little bit more, I don't know, nutrients. So again, we have this kind of blood-sucking bird. Just happens to have a red tinged beak and everything. So again, just a creepy bird with a creepy name and a bunch of creepy habits. All right, let me see if I still have my monetization now. I think I got away with that one, but we'll see. I'm really curious how fast the monetization goes south. I mean, how fast are these algorithms? Okay, video is visible to everybody. Okay. All right, I made that one. This one's going to be even harder, though. All right. This is from the same person, MENU. Fish survives. These pearlfish, still kind of an interesting name. They live inside the nether regions of sea cucumbers. So sea cucumbers breathe through their butt. That one's an ME that we discussed about last year. And now they have fish that live in there too. This is just so weird, and it's so current timeline for this kind of weird business. All right. So sea cucumbers have always been weird in my timeline, even because they could expel their guts out as like a defense mechanism. I guess they would just regrow them. So if you accidentally stomped on a sea cucumber, you would get like intestines all over you, which is gross. So of course I was very careful because I didn't want sticky, gross stuff on my foot, and I didn't want to hurt the sea cucumber. And they have a lot of these in Guam when I visited there. So they were known for that, but they didn't used to breathe through that area. So last year they started breathing through that area. So do turtles. Quite a number of animals now breathe through the other end. But now they've got fish living in there. These pearlfish. All right, let's see. So there's like a bunch of them in there. People don't know if they breed in there. They just hang out in there. Some of them make their permanent homes in there. Now, the other question is, how come the sea cucumber doesn't just expel its intestines and get rid of the fish? I don't, I guess one could argue that it's too much of a loss to have to redo their intestines over that such a small thing. The pearlfish like the gentle currents of the breathing through there. This whole thing just sounds totally crazy, okay? So the sea cucumber tries to keep them out by holding its breath, by closing the opening. But the pearlfish hang out until the sea cucumber runs out of air. It has to open, and then they run in there. So this story is so weird. It is so weird. I mean, these sea cucumbers, and now the breathing, and now the pearlfish, and then I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. It is so freaking ridiculous. Also, apparently there's a bunch of poison in there, but somehow the pearlfish resist the poison by creating a lot of mucus so that they don't get poisoned by the poison back end breathing hole. Okay, whatever. I don't even, it's just too weird. Let's see if did I lose my, no, I think I still have my monetization for now. Let's see how long it lasts for. But, I don't know. I had to end on that one, I think. I don't think I have any more. Lightning, blah, blah. So yeah, pearlfish. Pearlfish get the nod for the Emmy of the week by taking the weird and just like upping it 2 more notches. I don't know what's going to come out of these sea cucumbers next. Cucumbers, the pearlfish, all the names are suggestive. Yeah, I think I got everything now. Oh my goodness. Oh, look, see my monetization. I wonder how long that'll last. Okay, I might have made it. I mean, I'm going to delete this before my luck runs out. See what you got. I think to be missing, like, I'm missing one of my mice. Oh, you know, the other thing is I never did find my Mandela Effect card game cards. My friend said he didn't touch them. I believe him. I actually had to go buy another set. I had to buy it from the manufacturers. They charged me over $9 in shipping for a tiny little cards thing. So it's like basically like double the price because the cards are $10. But damn it, I'm getting it. Where did my it's down there. No. Are you serious? I'm just talking about how I lost my cards and now I've lost my mouse. There's one mouse for this one. I guess I can touch screen it. Does the touch screen work on this one? Psst. Oh, really? Can't get the touch screen to work? Well, anyway, it's the end. I don't really have to have that channel anyways. Let's just go back to YouTube. See what you guys are up to. That mouse better not be wherever that card game is because I did not find the card game. Takes me an hour to get there. Control room. There's 2 live control rooms. There's that one and then there's this one. And they're totally different places on here. And I don't know how to operate the new one very well. I might get stuck with it. Symbiotic, that's the word, symbiotic. There used to be symbiotic, and then there was parasitic, but now there's mutualistic. I wonder what is the difference between mutual. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Mutualistic versus symbiotic. I have never heard the word mutualistic before. It's an ecological interaction between at least 2 species where both partners benefit. All right, symbiosis, ecological interaction between at least 2 species where there is persistent contact between the partners. That was not the definition. It was that where they both benefit was symbiosis. That's really interesting. That is a complete different change. Symbiosis was when they both benefit. Parasitic was when one benefited and the other didn't. There was another term that was something parasitic, where like one benefited but the other wasn't hurt. I can't remember that word either, but if I heard it again I would. But there was a word for when one benefited but the other was like not majorly impacted. but there was no word called mutualism. So mutualism is the old symbiosis for my old timeline is now called mutualism. Very interesting. Very interesting. Let's see if it says the same thing here. Mutualism is a symbiotic relationship in which both species benefit. There it is. Commensalism is a symbiotic relationship in which one species benefits while the other is not affected. Okay, I do remember commensalism. But symbiotic, there was commensalism, and there was symbiotic, and there was parasitic. That was it. So this mutualism now is what symbiotic used to be. And symbiotic just means consistent contact. That's weird. That's totally a different definition. Totally. Oh my God, totally. Look, can't go past there, huh? Interesting. Everything turns into vampires. Certainly, there just does seem to be a big emphasis on the blood drinking in the timeline lately. All this talk about the deep state, higher muckety mucks drinking baby blood, and how baby blood and young people blood helps rejuvenate old people, and now you got all these weird blood drinking birds and butterflies drinking blood. Yeah, it's definitely a weird kind of a concept. "12 minutes left. Let's see. Yep, getting down the home stretch. Oh, Rain on the Plains. You didn't know about the backwards breathing. Yeah, turtles do it. When it first came out, it was just turtles, and now there's a bunch of animals that do it. You can Google that. Since I've managed to keep my ta-da, I have not been docked yet. Yeah, I'm actually afraid to check that statement by Little Itty Bitty Bitty Show to see if it's true, because I've seen some stuff. There's a few things that I just won't talk about on YouTube that I've seen, like changes that I'm like, no, I'm too embarrassed to talk about those. I think I hear the cat out there. Something's outside. I hope it's the cat. Central incisors have ridges. Let me just check that one. A number of people, and I do agree, teeth feel a little bit more pointy in the last year. Central incisors. Oh, those are those middle ones. I'll have to go check. Has ridges. I'll have to see if mine look different. Wait, I'm here. Anyway, if something's changed on the central incisors, it's Chris something gets the credit. They do feel sharp, but I don't know. Like I've said, I've kind of noticed that for the last year. It's going to suck now. I don't know. They do feel kind of sharp. So anyways, like the coyote teeth I was talking about, they're definitely sharper now than they were. There's a lot less molar and a lot more fang back there. Weird bone growth under tongue. not on the tongue itself. I've mentioned before, I think the roof of the mouth has gotten higher, and if you actually stick a mirror in there, I've been watching this for the last 2 years, there's like a weird pattern up in there that's been changing. It's kind of neat looking pattern of bumps and stuff. It's hard to describe. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're getting real sharp toothed. I do think that that's been incubating for a while though. All right, so I think it's time for me to head on out. 2 hours, got some good stuff from you guys. So thank you. Let's see if I succeed in the stop streaming successfully this time, so you don't get like 5 minutes of me clacking on the computer. So anyways, think good thoughts, everyone. This is Eva signing out for Once Upon a Timeline.